Go, Brandon!
Hey guys, hope all are doing well this weekend. This is not a video that I look forward to actually having to make. Nevertheless, it's an informative video that I wanted to put out real quick. Just some current events that took place this past week in Washington, D.C. Guys, we've all come to expect the same types of things in Washington, D.C., the same kind of sausage making. We've seen the sausage get made. We know how it's made, but we still get a little bit turned off and disheartened whenever it's made, and no one seems to be representing us. And that's where I feel like we're at this point. This past week, based on emotion with the Ukraine-Russia situation, not going to go into that, but obviously there's a lot of sensitive people out there right now. And not saying that we shouldn't be concerned with what's happening over there. My point is, this is the thing of the day. This is the new thing. You notice how fast COVID and all the issues went away. Where's Dr. Fauci? Hadn't seen him in a while, have you? Ukraine is the new thing. We're rolling into an election season later on this year, so everybody's trying to change what their narrative and their message is. And it's really it's a sleight of hand. This $1.5 trillion, $1.5 trillion, a number none of us can fathom. This bill was rammed through, this omnibus spending bill was rammed through by the House and by the Senate. It's going to Joe Biden's desk. It will be signed by him and it will go into law. It's a 2,700 page bill that is put out with, 15 hours to read it? Maybe 15 hours. This was their way to get all those pork projects and all these sinister bills like the anti-gun bills that I'm about to talk about into one bill, because we're like, hey, we've got $1 billion or several $1 billion worth of money that we need to send to Ukraine, and this is the only way we can do it. It's not the only way they can do it. First of all, they could have carved out and put forth a simple bill that anybody would have gone along with, but they wanted to corral it with all these other bills because they knew so many of these other bills could not be passed without tugging on heartstrings from the Ukraine situation in order to pass this through. Because what they just stand on Capitol Hill and go, well, I mean, Senator so-and-so voted against aid for Ukraine. And Senator so-and-so should have the figs to stand up and go, no, I didn't. I voted against all this garbage. If you want a Ukraine bill, put a Ukraine bill up and I'll back it. Not with all this crap in it. But they won't do that because they're greasing each other. Don't let them fog the picture with this cross the aisle crap. I'll vote for your garbage bill and you vote for my garbage bill, because when I vote for your garbage bill, it looks like a compromise. It looks like I'm a team player. It keeps you getting reelected. And then in turn, I get your vote from my garbage bill and I stay elected, because ultimately that's all they care about. That is it. They don't fear you. They don't fear me. They don't fear the voting public. They don't fear anything except losing their jobs. That's the point of this video. Let's help them lose their jobs. They just got through passing, essentially, I don't even know the right way to even put this. It's like they're following the lead of Russia to hire Middle Eastern terrorists, essentially, to come fight in Ukraine for them. They are going to essentially deputize local law enforcement, local people who can enforce the anti-gun federal law bills at that state and local level. What I mean by that is a lot of states out there have recently, in the past few years, passed essentially Second Amendment sanctuary laws that protect the federal government from imposing or utilizing any resources locally to enforce new anti-gun laws. Let's say, for instance, the government tomorrow passes a magazine capacity ban. Let's say that 30-round magazines are no longer legal federally. They pass a sweeping ban, which is Biden is actually wanting to do. So I'm using a legitimate, reasonable thing that he's actually pushing for. So now 30-round magazines are illegal according to federal law. So now all you can have is 10-round magazines. However, in the state of Louisiana, 30-round magazines, that's where I live, by the way, 30-round magazines are not illegal. So we actually have a Second Amendment sanctuary law that has been filed in the state of Louisiana for this year. So essentially what our law would do is not allow any of our local funding, any funding within the state of Louisiana that's accrued via the state. It wouldn't allow any of the sheriff's departments, the local PDs, anyone to enforce a magazine ban, to seek anyone out, to charge anyone, nothing. There would be no implementation of that whatsoever in any kind of way in the state of Louisiana using Louisiana funds. What they're doing with this bill that passed is now they have allowed and earmarked funds at the federal level, your tax dollars, at the federal level to now deputize and fund those people at the state and local level. So let's say the local sheriff's department down here in Louisiana says, we have a sanctuary city law, so we can't use any of our money, so I'm not sending any of my deputies out to enforce this law. The district attorney's office won't file any charges if they catch you with one because, again, we have a sanctuary city law that does not allow that to happen. Well, this new law that got passed is now going to give federal funds to that district attorney's office in order to say, okay, maybe you're not using your state's funding, you're not using Louisiana dollars to prosecute this person, but now I'm giving you the money that you need from the federal government in order to prosecute that. So they're sidestepping these Second Amendment sanctuary laws out there that we have in place. This is a very sinister, evil plan to do that because these people have put in place their own sanctuary cities and laws throughout the country to protect against illegal immigration because they're saying don't pay attention to any of the laws in this country, where all we're saying at the state level is, hey, don't try to push your unconstitutional federal anti-gun laws onto me down here at the state level. And they're simply trying to find a way around it. Now, I know a lot of the localities, we have parishes in the state of Louisiana instead of counties, our counties, cities, and all that. A lot of this is a very, very red state here in Louisiana. So it's very possible that they still simply would not enforce any of these stupid laws coming down from the federal level at the state level simply because they don't want to. In other words, keep your money. I don't want your money. But if you look across this country, and believe me, there are places in Louisiana, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, that would definitely take that federal money and prosecute people and arrest people and hold people accountable for some ambiguous Second Amendment anti-gun law at the federal level being brought down to us at the state level. So that's why this is such a bad bill to be included in here, such a bad thing to be included into this omnibus bill, because all these politicians who signed off on this are now going to be able to plead ignorance on this. And that's what aggravates me more than anything. We give these people an out all the time. They're going to sit back and say, oh, well, Nancy Pelosi got this bill on my desk. It's 2,700 pages. I had 15 hours to read it. Man, I couldn't read that whole thing. So in good faith, I signed it because I wanted to help the people of Ukraine out. They're looking at the most important things right now, the most popular things right now, and kind of leaning on that. Both sides. I'm certainly not making this a Democrat thing. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, all of them. Politicians in general are going to do this. They're going to hide behind the fact, yeah, they a couple of them complained about it. Yeah, 2,700 page bill, we don't have enough time to read it. But a lot of them didn't say that because they're holding on to that. All these guys, in fact, Aiden Johnston of Gun Owners of America did a really good job of listing all of the Republican people who claim to be pro-Second Amendment who signed this. These are the people right here, and I will post this into the description of the video. These are the people, along with the Republicans in the House, that are going to be the first ones to say, they put this on my desk, it was 2,700 pages, I only had this much time to read it, couldn't read it all, I did this in good faith for the people of Ukraine, and that's why I did it. Forgive me. Please re-elect me. These people do not deserve your vote. They do not deserve to suck off of the government for a minute longer. Not 1 minute longer. They do this stuff in the dead of the night. They know what they're doing. They intentionally do this. And they look back behind closed doors and they laugh at you and me because we're the stupid idiots that continue to vote for them and keep them in office. It's time we do our jobs because they won't do theirs. We need to get them out.
Let's go, Brandon.